Confused and overwhelmed by social media? Wondering what the next big trend is? Would you like to get more clients and more sales through the power of social media? Welcome to the Social Media Mastery Podcast, featuring your hosts, Daniel Dayette and Ricky Shetty, and a variety of social media experts covering the latest trends in social media.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Social Media Mastery Podcast. Once again, last week we talked about LinkedIn, the business Rolodex, how to grow and monetize your following. This week's episode sponsor is funneltracker.com. Create a custom dashboard for your marketing, track any tools, software, webinars, etc. Current episode this week is YouTube, the social network, how to find out if you can grow your following, subscribers, and more. And with me, I've got my show host, Ricky Shetty, the social media master himself. Ricky, are you there?
I am here, ready to rock, Daniel. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Make sure you subscribe to our, iTunes podcast, and also leave us a rating and review. This week, we're really excited to have Marion. He's a YouTube marketer. He has a really creative show on YouTube. It's called Bachelor on a Budget. So if you are a bachelor or if you just want to learn how to cook better, you'll be able to learn all these things about how to make healthy, tasty, and affordable meals. His channel already has over 6,000 subscribers and over 300,000 views. And on this episode, Marlon's going to be sharing some tips on how to build up your channel subscribers, your views, and some tips on how to monetize your channel as well. So how are you doing over there, Marlon, today?
Excellent, thanks. Thank you for having me. And dive into it.
All right. So maybe you can first of all tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you ended up on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. So I work at Broadband TV. It's the world's largest multi-channel network. So what that means, we work with over 75,000 different YouTube partners, and we help them grow their channels and help them to have greater monetization. And so I was doing a YouTube certification program offered by YouTube on learning like everything from like audience development to YouTube's like content ID system. And I just wanted to kind of use those tools and apply that. And so I was trying to think, what is my passion? They were talking about like, you have to figure out what you're passionate about. And so I went with cooking. Cooking at home is something I like to do, but I often like to use affordable ingredients. And so I started this cooking show, Bachelor on a Budget, a year ago. And just as you said, I teach people how to make cheap, healthy, and tasty meals. And since starting, I've released a video every Tuesday, and it's been going pretty awesome. I'm pretty stoked on the growth. Had like some super awesome wins that have been really rewarding, and really stoked that I actually started it and have got it to where it is. But in terms of working at Broadband TV, I work with plenty of bigger channels. Lots of the channels that I work with have in the tens of thousands to tens of millions. I work with some of the biggest EDM acts and some of the biggest hip-hop acts.
Sounds great.
A range of different music artists.
Very cool. And we'll definitely be learning a lot more about broadband when we get to the monetization part. On our podcast, we always go through a 5 steps to social media success formula. And the steps include how to build up a strategy on any and all channels, how to build up a following, how to manage that following, how to engage that following, and finally, how to monetize the following. And the same applies to YouTube. So what would you say for someone who's getting into YouTube and they're trying to develop a strategy? Any tips or suggestions there for people who are brand new to YouTube?
Yeah, for sure. So before even starting a strategy, I think you got to figure out who is your target audience, who are your raving fans, who are the people that you are going to share your content to, and really identify that. And the second part is figuring out what type of content you're going to produce. So what are you passionate about? Because you're going to be producing this content for quite a while. And you also have to bring something unique to the table. So what is your unique value proposition that only you can really bring to it? So I thought, like, I really know how to make cheap food like taste great. Cheap whole foods taste great. And so I wanted to utilize that, and that was my unique value proposition. And another unique value proposition is that nobody can really emulate you. You're creative in your own sense, like nobody can copy you. So that's kind of the unique value proposition. But yeah, really identifying what's unique that you're going to bring to the table and who your audience is.
Sounds good. And for your YouTube channel, when you're setting up, what kind of equipment would you suggest you get? And also, how would you build up confidence on camera? Because I think that's a lot of people, a thing that people struggle with. They don't want to be in front of the camera. So any tips for those things, Marlon?
Yeah, for sure. In terms of equipment, I would start with what you have. So even if you have like an iPhone, a great iPhone, one of the newer models has a great camera on it. So use what you have. Just you got to be conscious of lighting. So either use natural lighting or use very balanced lighting, so nothing too orange or too blue. Just make sure it looks good on the screen. Otherwise, you can edit that later. I personally use 2 different DSLRs. DSLRs are just great for affordable, high production filmmaking, high production value filmmaking. I also use like a lighting kit I got off Amazon for like $150, and it makes such a huge difference. In terms of sound, sound can often be a tricky one, but it's super important. Often people will just use like built-in camera microphones that aren't the greatest. And you wouldn't think that sound would be such an important element, but it really is. And so I use a Rode microphone, a Video Mic Pro. So it sits on top of my DSLR and it plugs directly into it. So I don't have to worry about syncing the audio after manually. So that saves a lot of time. And sorry, your other question was?
How do you get confidence in front of the video? How do you build up confidence so that you're not nervous when you're on the video?
Definitely practice. I definitely struggled with that in the beginning, but it gets better with time. So as you start engaging and thinking of it as you're not speaking to the camera, this black box. Think of it as you're speaking to your friends. You don't just want to speak randomly as if you're having a conversation with yourself. You want to be talking as if you're having a conversation with your friends.
Yeah, I definitely agree about the practice part. I think with anything, even with the podcasting, this is only about a 6th episode, and still nervous with it, and still stutters at times. And the more we do it, I find the more confident we get, the more natural we get, the more we can ask questions easier. So I think it's the same with podcasting, YouTube marketing, with social media, with speaking. So practice, right?
Totally. Practice makes progress.
There you go.
So, question for you, Marlon. How do you build your following? Like, how do you, once you've got your DSLRs all set up, you're producing content, like how do you grow your following on YouTube?
So there's a lot of different elements to that. A very important factor is being consistent. So being consistent with the content that you're delivering. Another huge factor is all of what you're tagging and how you're optimizing those videos. So we want to think, okay, well, how can I show up in the search results for something that is very commonly searched? And so I would use tools like YouTube search bar and type in like a potential recipe, and I would see what are the most popular searches around that. So like I would do ribs and see all of the videos that have come up for ribs and what they're titled. I also use Google Keyword Planner, and that's Google's AdWords software to see how many searches a keyword has got per month. And so I use that and see how to really optimize that. Those are like the main 2 tools that I use. And I also subscribe to every great cooking channel that I know of. So I probably subscribe to like 40 channels. So subscribing to channels in your niche and seeing what are recent videos, what are popular, and just start creating content that you think will resonate with your audience and being able to get that in the search bar, in the search results. So one video that I can think of off the top of my head, the one that has performed the best for me is my ribs video. So I have a video on how to make oven-baked ribs. Now, when you type in like make ribs in the oven or any search results around that, cooking ribs in the oven or oven-baked ribs, my video will come up in the first like 1 to 3 even though those searches get hundreds of thousands in total, like a month, and so it definitely helps with getting a lot of traffic through the search results. I think like 60% of my traffic comes through search, where others are like suggested videos. So I definitely try, like for educational type content, I definitely recommend trying to get a lot of search traffic.
Sounds good. And, that's pretty impressive. You've already built it up to about 6,000 plus subscribers over the last year or so. Can you tell us a little bit about how you manage the subscribers in terms of like, how do you get them to like and comment and engage with your content?
Yeah, so in terms of getting them engaged, you have to keep consistent, as I mentioned, with the content, because YouTube kind of rewards when you are when people watch when you first release a video. If like 10% of your audience click that video within the first 48 hours, YouTube's really going to reward that. So you want your subscribers to be clicking in the subscribe feed or to be finding that. In terms of engagement, I respond back to pretty much every comment, and I recommend people do the same. Like, especially like in the beginning, it's so feasible to do, and so worth it. Because imagine if you said like, "Hey, how's it going?" or you ask someone a question in real life and they just give you no response. That's kind of rude. So my policy on YouTube is always to respond to people, and I try and get a dialogue going. Not only does that create like a potential fan for life, but it also shows YouTube that people are engaging, especially if you can get a full dialogue going, like multiple questions and answers and people chiming in. That shows YouTube that it's really engaging, because comments that rewards that. And also it brings up the video's watch time, so the total minutes watched, because people are coming back to the video and watching it multiple times when there's comments going on.
That's awesome. So do you have any strategies for kind of engaging your following, getting them to subscribe, getting them to comment? Is there anything you do to sort of get people to engage with your stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think you have to have a call to action. And at the end of the video, I generally do mine. And it should be a verbal call to action. So, hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked this one. Leave a comment down below on what you wanted me to see make next. And please hit that subscribe button if this is your first time here. Thanks for watching. Something like that.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. I agree with the call to actions. What about things like annotations and things like that on the video? Do you put bloopers or anything else on the video to get more engagement?
I don't currently put bloopers, but I think it is a great strategy, putting them at like the end of your video, especially if you do it consistently and people know, okay, well, they're more likely to go through your call to action because they know there might be some awesome bloopers at the end. And also, like, longer videos do tend to perform better. So if you have that like extra content, it can be engaging. So it's definitely something that I've considered. In terms of annotations, the only annotation that I recommend using, annotation is YouTube's tool for like clicking onto other videos and for links, is a spotlight annotation. And a spotlight annotation allows you to create a clickable box around something that you've edited into the video. So I'll have like YouTube's like subscribe logo on my videos, and then I can create a spotlight annotation over that, creating that into a clickable button. And I'll also do that for other videos. So I'll have like 3 different videos that relate to the one I just demonstrated, and then they're very easily able to click on to another one. The only downside to that is that spotlight annotations don't work on mobile, and so YouTube has followed up with a newer version of annotation called cards. And cards tend to have a bit higher click-through, so I also recommend using that. And you can do it to merchandise. As for official like merchandisers, you can do it to your associated website. You can do it for other videos or playlists. So I recommend using both spotlight annotations and cards.
Great tips there. I need to use those myself on my own channel, so I'm going to be implementing those. We come up to our, major question that a lot of people have with not just YouTube, but all social media is, can we really monetize it? And if so, how? So what have you found with YouTube? I know you work with a lot of YouTube personalities, so with Broadbent. How are some of the ways, maybe you can outline the different ways that YouTube marketers can monetize the content?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of different revenue sources. I haven't really pushed it a lot because I didn't necessarily want to lower the integrity of my brand yet, because I didn't want to be doing like cheaper ones. Like right now I can afford to, because I have a full-time job, I can afford just to do the platform by itself. But some awesome ones that most of like the creators at Broadband TV are making plenty of money is AdSense revenue. So that's the program that YouTube pays out for creators. So whenever you see those advertisements on the beginning, that's YouTube paying that out. Generally, it's about like $1 to $2 per 1,000 views. So it becomes a great source of income when you're in the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands per month. But it's just one piece of the pie. I don't think, unless you're like a famous YouTuber, I don't think you can just rely on AdSense. Then you're just a YouTuber, you're not really a business. Branded integrations is another huge revenue source for creators on YouTube. So it's essentially sponsorships. So finding sponsorships that align with your audience. So I've had a few people like reach out to me like to do some like branded integrations for like their products on Amazon. But if it's not like a great fit for your audience, then I wouldn't recommend it. And so because my audience is like frugal and because they're frugal, I just didn't find that some of the products really aligned. And so, you just want to be conscious of that, what you're pitching out to your audience, but it definitely can be a great source. Another great source is Patreon. So Patreon is like crowdfunding for creators. So you can deliver like additional content, and the creators are funded by these backers, these Patreons, who pay anywhere from like $1 to a couple $100 a month, and so it can be an awesome source of revenue for creators. Other ways are selling like products, so like ebooks. So I intend to create like my own cookbook eventually. Merchandise, so selling T-shirts, selling branded cutlery or whatever it is. There's an awesome partner that we have at Broadband TV called Spreadshirt, in which creators get 5% discount, but basically they can upload like their logos and any imagery that they want, and then they can sell like T-shirts and awesome like merchandise with their brands and with their designs, but do it on demand. So when it's purchased, rather than having to bulk order 500 T-shirts and to have this like sitting in your mom's basement. And then the last one would be that I can think of off the top of my head would be affiliates. So selling products like through Amazon. So I could be selling some like blenders or some pots, or linking to those, and I can get a source of income through that, or a piece of that pie.
Sounds good. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the different types of advertising directly on YouTube? Because I think we all use YouTube, even though we might not have a channel, and we see ads all the time. Sometimes in the front, sometimes in the middle. Sometimes you have to wait until you're kind of forced to watch it. So can you elaborate a little bit on the different types of ads, Marlon?
Yeah. So you're going to see those TrueView ads. Those are the ads that are coming before your video, and they actually have different CPMs, how much they pay out monthly. So the non-skippable ones tend to have the highest earnings. Generally, that's like 15 to 30 seconds. There's also long non-skippable, which I think you have to have a certain amount of views for. But they have higher CPMs. The only issue is the downside is that people will often click away, which can negatively affect the video. So I wouldn't recommend non-skippable ads unless you have a pretty sizable audience where people are really wanting that content.
Sounds good. And another way I guess YouTube marketers can monetize is by working with a company such as Broadband TV or other networks. So can you elaborate on how that works for people who are on YouTube but have never worked with the ad network?
Yeah, for sure. So Broadband TV has a lot of different services to help creators grow. And so we help the creators grow and help them be able to have greater monetization. And so that's pretty much covering all those revenue sources that I just went over. We help the creators generate greater income through those revenue sources. But a big part of what we do is audience development. That's my main role at BBTV. So helping those creators like grow so they can get greater AdSense. And then we also have like a branded integration team that manages for key creators to be able to have those sponsorships.
And do you need a minimum amount of subscribers or views to qualify for broadband?
I believe there were higher minimums. I think it was like 1,000 subscribers, but I'm not sure on the exact number currently.
Okay, and what's the website for broadband if they want to get more info there?
Broadbandtv.com.
Awesome. So yeah, make sure you check out broadbandtv.com. Those are the 5 steps. Marlon's given us a wealth of info. I know Dan has a really juicy question for Marlon before we let him go. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, so this is my favorite question of all, Marlon. I have to ask, you must have some pretty wild stories, whether it be a funny comment or maybe a moment when you realized it was going to hit a certain amount of subscribers, maybe a funny video blooper moment. Something you can share with the audience about your experience being a YouTube marketer.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, going back, the website is actually bbtv.com, not broadbandtv.com. My mistake. In terms of something awesome that's happened.
Yeah, well, it could be anything, right? I guess what we're looking for is it could be any kind of story, but sometimes it's a funny story, sometimes it's kind of one of those success moments, like when you hit 5,000 subs. Just something that maybe if you were sitting there having a beer with somebody telling them about YouTube marketing and they didn't know anything about it, that would sort of resonate with them.
Yeah, for sure. So something actually just happened this weekend that was a pretty big success. So I've had this channel for a while, so I want to do something much bigger with it. I want to create a movement to help millions of people be able to eat healthy food affordably, and so I want to be able to grow a lot faster. And so on the weekend, I've been working on this a video application, and I applied for MasterChef on the weekend. MasterChef Canada, the amateur cooking competition with it's an awesome competition. I think there's a $100,000 prize, and it's going to be on TV. But anyways, on Monday they called me. They said they saw my channel, they loved what I do, and they'd love to have me create an awesome dish for the tasters, and so I could potentially be on the show. And I think a huge factor of that came from my channel.
So they actually were watching your YouTube channel and just tuned in and could see that you could put on a great show and be a good resource just from your YouTube videos?
So I applied to it, but they when asking for my website, I linked the YouTube channel, and that's one of the first things they said, we saw your YouTube videos, you're great, etc.
So, last question for the episode itself. Say somebody wants to learn more about you, your services, how do they reach out to you, and where should they go?
Yeah, so if they're looking to be a partner with BBTV or just learn more about it, as I mentioned, they can go to bbtv.com, or if they want to learn more about me, they can just go to my YouTube channel. They could type in Marlon Dahl or Bachelor on a Budget in YouTube, or youtube.com/c/Marlon Dahl.
Sounds good. Marlon, hey, thanks so much for your insights there. We learned a lot about everything from setting up a strategy for YouTube to building up your following, getting more subscribers and views, and all these tips about monetizing. And, good luck with MasterChef as well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thanks for having me on.
All right, everyone, thank you for listening to the episode today, and thank you, Marlon, for joining us. Anyone who wants to keep hearing more of these great, awesome tips and resources, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Leave us a positive review. Next week, we're going to be talking about Blab, the live video made easy platform. Should you be on it? Is it a moneymaker? Tune in for that. Thanks again for listening, and see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Social Media Mastery Podcast. To get more information about strategies, events, sponsors, and more, visit www.smmastery.com.